Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Not Everybody Needs a Podcast with your host, Mackenzie Rencher. I almost said welcome to the House of Beexs before this because I knew that I was going to talk about it. And for some reason, I was like, wait, what is my podcast called? Me being a year in and then still not knowing that. Speaking of, I'm thinking about doing a little sabbatical. I don't know y'all's thoughts. I think it'd be good to get a refresh, a rebrand, kind of do new segments. I'm thinking about doing a new cover photo. I just feel like we need a good new refresh, figure out what direction I really want it to go in. I know I kind of told you guys I want to talk about more about what's going on in the world and all of that last time. And I was going to say I got feedback. I did not get feedback. But I just do still want to know y'all's thoughts on what kind of direction you see this headed. And I'm going to do I just think taking a step back, you're able to just see things a little more clearly when you're not doing it every week. And I think we can make it better. I think we can make it better, more concise, more focused. And yeah, that's kind of my vision for it. I'll let you guys know what I end up deciding to do as far as a sabbatical. But I'm thinking about doing it soon. I am, because we will be gone a good portion at the end of the year. So it wouldn't even make sense. It would make sense to take this as a little break. I don't know. Let me know y'all's thoughts. I always want to know your thoughts about everything I end up kind of deciding to do. Not that it's if I really felt pulled towards a break that I want to do one, but it's just good to know. It's good to know for the people that watch what you guys want and see and all of that. And some of the podcasts that I listen to do that as well. And I feel like they always come back better and more interesting and whatever. I feel like breaks are good always. The last time we talked, I took last week off because of Cabo. I had not even released into the world House of Beexs yet. I told you guys about it. I gave you guys my vision for it. But guys, it's out. It is out in the world. I think launching was launch day on that Friday after we recorded was so crazy. One, the mugs sold out in an hour. So I already did a pre-sale for them. And I ordered a few more than the pre-sale because I wanted people to be able to get their hands on it. And so I'm excited about that. That was crazy. Crew neck sold out in a day. Also crazy. And yeah, I'm just thankful. We have a few windbreaker set sizes left. We have a few tanks left. We have a few biker shorts left. But other than that, it's gone, which is crazy. And I don't know what I feel, honestly. I kind of took a week of rest to think about it, but I still am it's a lot. It's definitely a lot. I feel a lot of emotions. And I think something I've been thinking about a lot is I just want to honor all the people before me that have started businesses, because it is no joke. You think starting a business is, I'm sure it's hard. I'm sure it takes sacrifice and vision and whatever. But until you do it, you don't really know how much goes into it. And I just have so much respect for anybody that's ever taken that leap to do it. I think there's so much more that goes into it than people see or know. And it'll drain your mental capacity. It'll drain your bank account. And we only have one employee right now, and that employee is me. So I am doing the returns, I am doing the emails, I'm doing the responding, I'm doing the marketing, I'm doing the creating, and all while working on collection 2. And this is not me complaining. I never want to come off as complaining. Sometimes I will complain though, period, because life is life sometimes, and I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to complain. I do always want to practice gratitude, but it's not that I'm complaining. I think I'm just acknowledging, especially seeing other brands be created and be great. I'm just wow, I honor the people that have done that and taken that leap, because it's a lot of sacrifice, a lot of time and energy. And with that comes a lot of celebration too, because watching it come to life and watching hundreds of people get on the site whenever it launched was insane, because in the system that we use, you see this world. It's like a picture of the world, and it shows you all the dots that people are shopping, which is crazy. And you're just able to see all over the world, the people that tuned in, and just every comment that I've gotten about the quality and seeing people get their stuff in and talk about the branding or the logo or how it made them feel or it being cozy or whatever it is. Like, it just makes me so happy. I also feel like I've learned a lot through this launch, where I've learned kind of what you guys want to see, what you guys like on, what you could do without, color. Like, for example, like, I loved the brown crew neck, don't get me wrong. I just didn't think it was going to be gone in a day. You know what I mean? So it was good to hear like y'all's feedback on feeling like you could wear this every day and you love the deep brown and it went with fall, and how much you guys like when it's dropped at a certain time in the season. Like, I just like hearing all of those things. I'm digesting it. Collection 2's been done, but just knowing when to put it out and the colors and like the quality and everything, just hearing all of that was everything to me. And then the very next day after we launched, we did a pop-up. Will I ever do that again? No, that was a lot in a weekend. It was all good stuff, don't get me wrong, but it was just a lot to think about. And I always want to make sure I'm doing things well and like giving enough time to things. And so the pop-up just came so quick, and I was like obviously excited to meet people and like see it on people. That was surreal. But I maybe would have done it the next weekend, even though I couldn't have because of Cabo. And I basically only had one weekend to do the pop-up, and I wanted to do it so bad. And because I wanted to meet people and I wanted people to see it in person and hear people's feedback in person and make sure people felt appreciated and they got their free ice cream and free candy. And it was just like a fun celebration. I really, really wanted to do that. And so that was my one option. So that's what I did. But I feel like I got good feedback from that as well. I got to interview people and kind of ask them what they got and why they got it, why they liked it, what their thoughts were. And I got to hug people and got to celebrate with friends. So that was amazing. And then the next day I hosted a fall brunch, which was also so fun and cozy. But all in all, I don't know why I said that. Then we did a little packing day with my friends. So I did a brunch with them, and then we all packed the orders together, and we packed a few hundred orders, which was crazy. Could not have done that without them. I definitely would have freaked. We had a coffee cart here, which was fun, and I felt like added to the fun of the brunch because we got to do pumpkin lattes and we got to do cappuccinos and cinnamon cappuccinos and apple pie, whatever. Like, you could get whatever drink you wanted, which was so fun and delicious. And the people that did it, I think it was called, I'll put it in the description. But they're local to Greenville, and she was so good. She did homemade syrup. She brought her espresso machine because a lot of times when you do carts, if you do coffee carts, they'd either do pre-made espresso or they'll do like espresso condensed, if that makes sense. Like, it's basically espresso that you add milk to and it makes it into a latte, which it's good, don't get me wrong, but the fresh espresso makes all the difference. And she does homemade syrup. So she made all of her syrups homemade, like vanilla, caramel, apple pie, maple. I mean, she had like 10 different flavors for us, and it was so good. Everyone loved it. And it just added to the fun of the day. Like, I feel like just packing orders with your best friends was something that you just feel so proud of, and watching it all happen felt so surreal. But I will say, by the end of the weekend, when Darien was like doing a check-in with me, I was like, I truly don't know what I feel. Like, I think I feel proud. And then I'm also like, did it not go how I thought it would? Or just like overthinking a lot, which if you create anything or you're just an entrepreneur or you, whatever it is, I just think in your job in general, or even if you're proud of something, I think that you tend to overthink it a lot. And I think a lot of times you obviously show up the proudest version of yourself, but in secret, when you like do check-ins with yourself, you're kind of like, wait, was that good? Like, is this good? You just have like a lot of overthinking. And so I had to kind of do a check-in with myself, and it was just so timely that we had this trip planned. We were gone from Tuesday to Tuesday. We went to Nobu in Cabo, the Nobu Hotel, and it was so freaking good, y'all. Like, I understand why people hype this place up now. And my mom has a residency there. So we got to stay in one of their suites. And it was so beautiful. Having time as a family was so beautiful. We got to do dolphins while we were there with the kids. I thought that we were doing the dolphins for the kids, but it turns out we were actually doing it for Darien, JK. But actually, everything the dolphins did, he was so amazed by, and it was so cute. When they do that thing where they can like take their whole body out of the water, Darian's like, he just acted like a little kid in the sweetest way. And he was like, these are the best animals in the world. And I was like, no, I know. They're so cool. And being that close, and we've met dolphins before, but we were both young. And so doing that, getting to do that with my mom and her husband, and just getting that family time, like we've never done a trip like that, especially with our moms, but our mom and my mom and her husband, but just in general as a family of four, like we haven't really gotten to go and do that because it is a lot of planning. And as much as I love it, it does take a lot of time and planning with kids to prepare for trips like that. Something that we always do that is so helpful is, one, I always have to prepare myself with joy, if that makes sense. Like I'm like, no matter what happens, if there's a delay, if there is whatever may come our way, which is unpredictable with kids, they might not take a nap. They might hate being on the plane. They might love being on the plane. Like you just never know what's going to happen. So I just try to prep before and just be like, I'm carrying joy with me wherever I go on this here trip, on this here 10-hour trip to Cabo with both my toddlers. I will be joyful. And that doesn't mean that I'm perfect at it, but at least I prep myself for anything that could happen. For example, on the way there, we sat on the tarmac. Gosh, that word always gets me. I swear every time I say that, I always say termite. Who is termite? Anyway, tarmac. I think I like mix multiple words. Maybe termite and tarmac. Anyway, we sat there for like 45 minutes with the kids because they had a bird strike, which means basically a bird hit their wings. So they had to make sure it was fine. Crazy, whatever. So obviously the kids are antsy and we hadn't even taken off yet. And I was just like, Lord, please help me have joy because I really want to like scream. The kids really did so good. And we just prayed prior. I was like, listen, I need people around us that are understanding of kids and that can be like, not helpful because we don't like necessarily need help, but just, you never want to sit by someone that is like, why are y'all here basically? And I feel like we just sat by the best people. We ended up sitting on our longest flight there. We ended up sitting by this little girl who was so precious. And she was so good with the kids. She wanted to play with them the whole time. She was 7. And you would think she was like our little babysitter. She was just so sweet and helpful and wanted to play with Beckham. And it was just sweet. And yeah, I think that's one way we prepare is just going ahead and deciding that we're going to choose joy, which Darien really is so good at. I don't even know if he like preps for that in that way. But for me, I know my personality and I know, which I'll talk about in a second. I just know how my flesh will turn in certain situations. And I'm like, I don't want to have bad attitude because that never helps. It literally never helps. It just makes you more and more mad and whatever. So I try to prep for myself. And then 2 snack boxes. I always make the kids these snack boxes that have 12 different containers. I think some big, some small. And I stack them with new snacks I know that they love. I'll put some other additional snacks in there, but I also know that I don't want to have 12 different snacks in the bag where I'm throwing them around, they get crushed and whatever. So snack box, perfect for whatever you feel like. Perfect. Did I say perfect with no T? Perfect for when they're getting antsy on the plane and you're like, what do I do? You know what to do. You open up that snack box and they think it's the best thing every single time. I obviously bring like little toys here and there, but really nothing on the plane keeps them out that occupied for that long. I've tried to do busy books, but then those pieces just go everywhere and I just get like just overstimulated. And so the biggest thing is timing up their naps so they nap on the plane. 2, obviously screen time. My son is not old enough to care about screen time yet. I mean, he's like over 1 and Beckham definitely cared about screen time at this point. He could not care less, unfortunately. And so he will not be stopped by screen time. She, on the other hand, she loves screen time. We let her watch like educational things and she always loves it. And she's just my little sponge. She takes everything in and they both just did so good. I'm so proud of them. Beckham's been calling this trip to Cabo Maycation. Like we've been telling her we're going on vacation. I think she thought we were saying Maycation. And whenever we landed and got there, she was like, Mommy, this is Maycation? I said, yep, this is vacation. She said, where is it? Like in the most disappointed the most disappointed tone. She did not understand what was going on. But once we got in the pool and she got to have treats and whatever, that's when I feel like she got it. And we really just had the best time taking them and getting time together, slowing down. We got to do the spa a few days. Me and Darien got to have a few date nights while we were there because my mom, we like switched off in the room. So my mom would go to dinner. We would come back, be with kids. They would come back, be with the kids. We would go to dinner. You get the point. And we just had multiple days that we got to do that, which was very fun. And if y'all ever get a chance to stay in Nobu, the service is unreal. Like we had a butler the whole time we were there who we could just ask whatever to and he would make it happen. It's the most family-friendly place. Whenever we showed up, they had cribs for us. Not just any kind of cribs. The cribs that like rolled and were super comfortable, which I was happy about because, you want the kids to be comfortable right there. They had diaper pails for us. They had things for the tub. They had literally anything you could need for a kid while you're there, like bulky stuff they had, which was so nice. They just were like so excited to see the kids. And they have a kids club there, which is crazy, where they had like a rock climbing wall. They had activities every 2 hours during the day. You could drop your kids off there. We did not do that just because we weren't comfortable, but some people would drop their kids off there. They also have babysitter options there. So like if our mom wasn't there, we could, again, I would never do that just because I'm crazy and I just couldn't. But that's also a nice option if you would be into that. They have 2 different pools. I could go on and on and on. I mean, this resort was just so nice and they just treated you so nice and it was an amazing trip. Now, all that to say, while I was there, I feel like I did a lot of reflection. I really needed that rest after like releasing this out into the world with this beautiful thing, but I just needed like a second to pause and think about it and just practice gratitude with it and kind of get re-inspired for some other collections and also just realizing things that have been bothering me about myself for a while that like I just haven't taken a pause to reflect on, or maybe I just didn't really realize were bothering me until I got there and I didn't have like 9 things distracting me to do, and it was really just like a lot of relaxing. Obviously we still had the kids there, but I had a lot more time to think and just like getting coffee by myself early in the morning or whatever. And I realized like a few things that were bothering me was, one, I feel like I didn't know how to rest. Like I was in this restful place and I still didn't feel at rest. And I feel like it was a good reminder that rest is like such an internal thing. Like you can find rest anywhere. But also I think I expected to like show up to vacation and immediately feel rested because I wasn't doing anything. But my mind and my spirit still were like all over the place, overthinking, just not feeling restful. And then also not living in the moment and maybe not finding the joy and things like I want to, which kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier. But I think that I just really struggle with like letting little things bother me. Like when things don't go as planned, or when, I don't know, I feel like I just found myself in these little moments where I was in this beautiful place with my family, and that's what I have been thinking about for months and planning for and being excited for, but I couldn't be in the moment and I wasn't being joyful, and I was just like, what's going on here? Like I need to figure out what these 2 things are. And funny enough, I've told you guys about this, but the Dwell devotionals that I do every day are that day that I was like praying about it and thinking about it came up, and it was a devotional about rest. And it was just this girl talking, and she was like, breathe in and say, they're kind of like meditations, because I don't know, like they just like, it will be like, breathe in and breathe out and say this. And it's like actually so helpful. But breathe in and say like, God is rest. God, you are rest. Breathe out and say, help me feel your rest today, or whatever, be filled with your rest. And I was just like, wow, I don't know why it hit me so hard. And it actually made me realize that both of those things are coordinated. The lack of joy in moments, and then also I just feel always rushed and not at rest. But yeah, I was kind of talking to Darien about it because Darien, I really feel like does such a good job of this. And most of the time it's in a fight that we talk about it because I'll be rushed and I'll be being mean because I'm rushed or being snippy because I'm rushed. And he'll be like, Mackenzie, you're always like, why are you in a rush right now? And every time he asks that question, I'm like annoyed because I'm like, well, because, and I have like an answer that isn't really valid. And really what I mean to say is, well, I'm never rested. So I just always feel rushed and I always feel like I have somewhere to be. And it's like me having that attitude or me being not in the moment and always having like thinking of the next thing is making me have this attitude that I'm not proud of. And I just realized that it's just all correlated because I thought it was two separate things. Like, why don't I feel joy? And then also, why am I always rushed and I don't have rest or whatever? And Darren is just always like, slow down. You don't need to feel rushed right now. Like, why are you rushing off to the next thing? Like, why can't you just blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, I'm glad that you feel that way, but I always feel like I'm rushed to the next thing. And so I feel like just having this time to really pause and be like, God is rest. And specifically, what do you think about, I guess the story in the Bible where Martha and Mary, Martha is, which I really should have gotten the scripture for this before, but Martha's basically rushing around and like trying to do things for Jesus and trying to clean up and tidy up for him and find whatever, just basically being busy and rushed. And Mary is sitting and like washing his feet with perfume and like spending sweet time with him. And he basically just looks at Martha and he's like, you should take some notes from Mary. Like, look at the rest that she experiences with me and the peace, and she's just with me. That's one story that I think about where I'm like, wow, if I'm really being with Jesus, like I can be rested and I don't have to be go, go, go. And that doesn't mean that you're lazy. It's just like, it's the way that you feel. Like I could have a day full and not feel rushed and unrested. Like I can be productive and not have to have this attitude where I'm like, I'm getting things done. I this, I that, I have a lot going on, whatever. And so, yeah, it's just, it's really just being with Jesus and pausing. And I don't know how you guys think about spending time with Jesus. I think everyone kind of, or maybe you don't, and I'm just like a picture kind of person or a visual person, but I always visualize myself sitting at a table with Jesus and dining with him when we're spending time together. And also the scripture, the Psalm 23, 1-2, the Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures and he leads me beside still waters. That is also how I picture spending time with him. Like those two things are mainly what we do. I don't know if like y'all feel that way or how you picture it, but I can almost guarantee that none of you picture yourself with Jesus when you're spending time with him rushing. Like he's not rushed. He's slow paced and peaceful. And does that mean he does nothing? Clearly not. He's Jesus and he's God and he does things. Trust. He's doing a lot. But when you're spending time with him, like that feeling that you have where you're like in the green pastures, or maybe you're sitting at a table and dining with him, or like whatever it may be, that is like how our spirit is supposed to be. Like we're supposed to be at rest. And that is just such a good reminder for me in this season of life, especially where maybe I do have more on my plate or whatever, that it's more so like, am I being with Jesus? Am I allowing myself to slow down and be with Jesus? That's the question every day, not what's on my plate, what I have to do, what my to-do list. It's like, I can always have this peaceful, most importantly, joyful spirit. Not most importantly, I don't think there's levels to the fruits of the spirit, but I can have this joyful spirit about myself because I am rested and because I am being with Jesus in every moment, and he is in every moment. And yeah, I feel like that's just what I learned this week. And it did take me towards the end of the vacation to really figure out like, oh, wait, why have I been resting kind of, but I'm not rested? Like I don't feel like I've been getting rest. And it's because, yeah, sure, maybe I laid out in the sun, but my spirit was not pausing and being with Jesus in every moment. And yeah, I feel like I really needed that reminder, and it was just good for me. And yeah, We are doing Halloween tomorrow. I know a lot of you guys have different thoughts on that. For me, I actually listened to a little podcast clip about, his name's Bryce Crawford. He's like a Christian, I hate the term Christian influencer because it's like, what even is that? But he's just like an influencer that's a Christian, and he talks about Halloween. And I feel like I have similar takes to him, where it's like, when people are like, you're giving the devil a foothold, and it's like, I don't feel that way. I feel like my daughter dressing up as Elsa and me as Anna is not giving the devil a foothold. I think sin gives the devil a foothold. And I just don't feel like it's sin. And I feel like everyone has different convictions. So if that's your conviction, then stand on it and don't celebrate. But for me, we are doing Halloween. So tomorrow's Halloween. Cannot wait to dress up with the babies. I'm being Anna. Beckham's doing Elsa. Kaysen's doing Olaf. And it's all Frozen characters, obviously. And then Darien's doing Sven, so the moose. I cannot wait to see Darien in that moose costume. I'm going to crack up. And Beckham's going to be so excited watching everyone dress up. I hope no one dresses up too scary. But anyway, we're doing that. And then Darien's birthday is this weekend. It's on Sunday, but we're celebrating on Saturday. So we're going out on Saturday with friends to do a dinner, which I'm excited about too. I went and got his birthday presents today. Why can't I not think of the word today? And I got him this like silver ring, and it's so cool. It's like this thick silver ring that I think he'll love. He's been very into jewelry. I got him this cross necklace that's really cool that I feel like he can wear with a lot of his outfits. And then this like sick leather jacket that has these like brown vintage details on it. So cool. I think he'll love it. We'll see, I guess, if he's going to return it. But I also am going to get him some of his favorite little treats from Whole Foods, but I have to wait till Saturday to do that. And I'll, of course, get him balloons and all of that. Party City closing really, really ruins the vibe, because I used to get their balloons delivered on Sundays. And like if we did a party on Sundays or whatever, you could get them delivered. And that was always helpful, because then I could just have them ready. But now I have to blow them up myself and go and get the specific balloons and whatever. So I got to go and do that as well, because I always try to decorate for his birthday too. But alrighty, now let's get into today's Mackenzie's Mindset. Mackenzie's Mindset is a segment that I do at the end, towards the end, I guess at the end of, I just said that 3 times, the end of every podcast, where I give you guys my mindsets on your scenarios or just your questions in general. So let's get into today's. The first one, what is your thoughts on influencers sharing political views? You know, I think on your page, you should be able to do what you want to do. I also don't think forcing anyone to talk about things that they don't want to talk about is kind of lame, because I'm like, if you don't actually feel strongly about something, you're not educated on something, then don't speak on it. I have talked about politics on my channel or my socials before, and I almost always regret it, because it's just not necessary. And I think it just causes a lot of hate. And I think there's a lot of people that like their platform revolves around that and educating people. And I think that's important. But for me, I've decided that I'm not going to speak on it anymore. And it's not because I care that people disagree with me or whatever. I think that I will always speak on me being against certain topics. Like, I don't know, like I speak out when I feel like there's injustice going on. And if I feel convicted to speak out about it, but I don't speak about every single thing, because I'm just like, some of it's not helpful. And I don't think my voice, not that it matters, it doesn't matter. I do think my voice matters, and I will speak on injustices. But as far as like giving my political opinion, I just don't think people want to hear that from me, to be honest. Like, it's just like not what my page is about. And I think there's so many people that are like well educated in that. I take my time to educate myself. But just as far as like, so I have to be so careful talking about this topic. I know I'm going in circles, but people just get so mad. And that's really why I don't speak on it. I think it just causes a lot of hatred and division, specifically when I talk about it. So I just don't like feel like it's necessary. I have made it pretty clear where I stand, and a lot of people disagree with it. Some people agree with it. It is what it is. I don't really care. I just don't necessarily want to use my like time to talk about that, because I just always feel like it creates so much division among people. I just don't feel like it's necessary. And it's also never enough. Like once you start talking about it, people are always like, why don't you talk about this? Why don't you talk about this? What does this mean? Like, and it's just like, it really is never enough. So unless it's an injustice that I feel like I need to speak up about, I kind of just stay clear of it. And if you want to use your platform to do that, period. But I just feel like it causes more division than anything for me personally. Just I get Mackenzie's mindset. I have been struggling with my faith for a while. Growing up, I went to church heavily. Eventually distanced myself from church and the word altogether as I got older. In the last 6 months, I lost 3 aunts and my grandpa, and I have been dealing with so much anger towards God. Started going back to church again, but I struggle with getting through the service due to my lack of trust in God. Any advice on how to navigate through the anger and not to question his choices so much? One thing I will say specifically, because you brought up death, is that I think something that's said about God a lot that I think is misunderstood is that people have the idea that God causes bad things to happen. I think rather than that, I think people make their own decisions, and I think that death is a inevitability. Is that a word, inevitability? It's inevitable, basically, about life. And he gives us so many choices in life, which are beautiful. And then there's also a side of it that I think I've talked about before, where I say God has saved us from so much, but he hasn't saved us from the human experience. For example, one of my friends, I don't want to give too many details, just went through a tragic family death, and he was a great guy and loved Jesus, and he ended up dying in such a sad way. And it's like, it's so natural for us to want to blame God and be like, how could he let this happen? And I think that's valid, and I think bring that to him. I think there's no emotion that you have to keep from God. Like, he can handle it. Every time I've asked him questions, the hard questions, anytime I bring anything to him, he's never told me not to bring it to him. And I think just like bringing that anger to him and just asking him like why, and asking him for comfort, because sometimes you're not always going to get an answer of why. And I think bad things happen, but I don't believe that God causes bad things to happen, if that makes sense. I think that he allows certain things. And I also think that you will experience the human experience, but thank God that we have him. And I also just want to say I'm sorry for the pain I'm sure you're feeling of that anger, and you probably just feel like you want an answer so badly, and that's such a hard thing to wrestle with. But I really do believe if you bring that anger to God and you just wait on him, and I believe he'll answer you. I really do. And I think that he'll bring you comfort, and you may never know why. Like, okay, why did I lose 3 aunts? And I think you said aunts and uncles, but whatever. Why did I lose 3 family members back to back? Like, why? And there may never be like this, like, why given, because it's just the human experience, but there also can be comfort. And I do believe that God gives us answers when we need them. And I would just pray over you that you experience peace from the Spirit, that you would experience an understanding of the Spirit and of God. And also just like, I'm proud of you for showing up when it's hard. And I can't tell you how many times I've shown up when I haven't wanted to, and I got nothing from it. But it took that 4th or that 5th or that 10th time showing up that I was like, wow, this was so worth it. Like, I had this amazing experience with the Spirit and with Jesus. And I would just encourage you to keep showing up, ask for prayer, be honest with God, and that I'm sorry, because I don't think there's any why that couldn't make it better. But I do believe that you can experience the peace of God and just keep going back to him. And yeah, I hope that's helpful. I feel like I kind of just rambled, but okay. Well, that's going to wrap up today's episode. I hope that this is either helpful to listen to or it was fun to listen to, whatever. I am always grateful for you guys listening. Send in any Mackenzie's mindsets to our Instagram or our TikTok at Not Everybody Needs a Podcast. As always, I love you guys. And I'm so thankful for you, and I'll see you guys next Monday with a new episode of Not Everybody Needs a Podcast. Goodbye.